What is up, everybody? JT Dangerously. Once again, I am back for my Major League Baseball postseason American and National League divisional predictions. Now, the wild card games are in the books, and now we're into the divisional rounds. Now, these are a best-of-5 series, and we have 8 teams remaining in the quest to become the World Series champion. So I could not wait to do these predictions. I hope you guys do enjoy this. Now, our record coming into the divisional predictions this year, after our wild card predictions, we went a perfect 2-0. So we're coming in hot after our wild card predictions, and hopefully in this video we will continue the winning ways. Hopefully. Now, before I begin, I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching or still watching all 5 videos I put up on Monday. Again, thank you guys so very much, and thank you guys so very much for watching my wild card predictions on that Monday. So again, thank you guys for watching or still watching all 5 videos I put up Monday. Now, we're at 200 plus subscribers strong, so I do want to thank you guys so very much for supporting the channel. To new subscribers, thank you guys for super kicking that subscribe button, and welcome to the Dangerous Alliance. It is great to have you guys here. And to our longtime subscribers, thank you guys for sticking around, supporting the channel, and always killing it. Now, this is your first time watching my channel as a first time viewer, and this is your first video, boy. You picked a good one if you're a Major League Baseball fan. Welcome to the Dangerous Alliance. I am JT Dangerously, and welcome to the club, because this club is just to whoop whoop. Again, thank you guys so very much. Now, other than that, let's get right into these divisional predictions. Now, I'm going to start off in the American League with the first matchup. It is the New York Yankees heading to Cleveland to face the Cleveland Indians. Now, the New York Yankees are coming off a big win on Tuesday over the Minnesota Twins in the one-game American League wildcard game. They won 8-4. Aaron Judge, as always, got the team to that win with a 3-run homer. Didi Gregorius had a great game. Brett Gardner had a great game, and Adolis Chapman finished it up for the Yankees to get to this situation. Now, the one thing that bothers me about the Yankees was what happened in the first inning with Luis Severo, that he didn't get past the first inning. It was 3-0 in the first, and they took him out after not even a full inning, and he only had 1 out. That worries me because, again, I would have went with CC in this situation. I didn't think they'll go with Luis Severo in this wild card game, and that definitely showed in that game that he's got to have to step up his game in this divisional series. Then on the other side, you have the Cleveland Indians, of course, the reigning American League champions from last season. They went 94-67 last season and got all the way to the World Series, but they fell short in 7 games to lose to the Chicago Cubs. So they're coming into this season looking to get back to the World Series. Now, this season this year has been a heck of a year for the Cleveland Indians. I mean, first half of the whole season, they were in first place in the American League Central and never stopped winning. And then the second half of the season, they went through a 22-game winning streak. So that is something else. You go 22 games without losing is saying a lot, and that really puts them on the top of my list to win this year's World Series because of that. If they can do a 22-game winning streak going into the playoffs, it's saying a lot, but it also puts a lot of pressure on them because if they don't win the World Series, that whole 22-game winning streak, nobody's going to remember because you have to win the World Series now if you had a 22-game winning streak, because if you don't, that just says you squander the season, and that 22-game winning streak they had would mean nothing. Now, starting with their starting lineup, you got Yan Gomes, Carlos Santana, Jose Ramirez, Yandy Diaz, Francisco Lindor, Lonnie Crisanhall, Brady Zimmer, Jay Bruce, and their DH, the power man, Edwin Encarnacion. Now, top players to look out for in this Cleveland Indians starting lineup, you got Carlos Santana, you got Francisco Lindor, you got Edwin Encarnacion, their power hitter who they got from the Toronto Blue Jays. Those 3 players are definitely the team to look out for. Now, with their starting pitching, we do know who's going to be playing Game 1, 2, and 3 for the Indians. We have Trevor Bauer in Game 1, Corey Kluber in Game 2, and Carlos Carrasco in Game 3. So there's the pitchers that you're going to see for the Indians in this series. Now, with their starting five, Corey Kluber, who I think one of the two players that could win the American League Cy Young, Carlos Carrasco, Trevor Bauer, Josh Tomlin, Mike Corrigan, and their closer Cody Allen. When they have a lead, even if it's a 1 or 2 run lead, you give it to Cody Allen, he shuts them down real quick. So coming from me in this first American League Divisional Series to see who will head to the American League Championship Series, man, this is definitely a power game with Aaron Judge, the one of the two players I think could win the American League MVP with this one heck of a rookie season he had in the regular season, and coming into his first postseason, he is not messing around. So this one's a really good matchup. So coming from me in this matchup, I'm going to take the Cleveland Indians to win. Again, I really do believe they are the best team in the American League right now. There's like 3 teams that I think could get to the World Series: the Cleveland Indians, Houston Astros, and the Boston Red Sox. Again, no offense to the Yankees, but it's just not their year this year. So coming from me, I am taking the Cleveland Indians to defeat the New York Yankees. And now the final American League Divisional Series. It is, of course, my favorite baseball team. Been a fan since 2003. The Boston Red Sox heading to Minute Maid Park to face the Houston Astros. Now, we do know the Game 1 and Game 2 starters for this game. Now, in Game 1, it's going to be our top pitcher, Chris Sale, against Houston's top pitcher, and the acquisition of Justin Verlander. So Game 1 looks to be a good one for sure. And then in Game 2, it would be Drew Pomeranz facing Dallas Keuchel. So we have the Game 1 and Game 2 starters for this game. Now, starting off with the Houston Astros, they're coming off an 84-78 record last season, and coming into this season, they doubled in wins. They had the first 100-win season in their career, and they won the American League West title for the first time since 2001 when they were in the National League Central. Now, the one thing I remember about the Houston Astros was the 2005 season when they got to the World Series and lost to the Chicago White Sox. But the players I remember on that team says like a who's who: Jeff Bagwell, Brad Ausmus, Craig Biggio. You had so many great players on this team in the past, and now in this year there's some great talents on this Houston Astros team. Now, starting off with the starting lineup with Brian McCann, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, who's coming back from the injury that we did not see him for most of the regular season. You got players like Carlos Beltran, who's been here in the playoffs before. So you got some great players, just to name a few, that can actually get them. George Springer as well. So this Houston starting lineup is not too bad. And then when you look at their pitching, when you have Dallas Keuchel, Morton, Colin McLaughlin, and the biggest sign they got in the regular season, and Justin Verlander from the Detroit Tigers. So Verlander has been just lights out since he's been in Baltimore with their closer Ken Giles. This one's going to be a good one, and this Houston team is one of those 3 teams I think can get to the ALCS or the World Series. Then on the other side, you have the Boston Red Sox, of course, the reigning American League East champions back-to-back. They're coming off a pretty solid season last year, and now coming into this year, it's a whole different Boston Red Sox team. Of course, with David Ortiz retiring, they had to change it up. John Farrell, maybe one of my favorite managers since Terry Francona in Boston. He has done a good job with this team. Now, with their starting lineup, you got Christian Vasquez, Mitch Moreland, you got one of my favorite second basemen, Dustin Pedroia, Rafael Danvers, Xavier Bogaerts, Anthony Bentinelli, Jackie Bradley Jr., Mookie Betts, and their DH hitters, the heavy-hitting Hanley Ramirez and Chris Young. Now, players to look out for in this Boston Red Sox starting lineup says like a who's who. You got Dustin Pedroia, you got Mookie Betts, Hanley Ramirez has been taken over in that DH position where David Ortiz would have been, but he's been hitting home runs for somebody who's not known for a home run hitter. You got Xander Bogaerts and Rafael Danvers. So this starting lineup for the Red Sox is pretty damn good. And then when you look at their starting 5 pitching, you got Rick Porcello, Chris Sale, the other man that I think could win the American League Cy Young this year, Doug Fister, and Eduardo Rodriguez. And now, when you come to the 7th or 8th inning, they have a great setup man, which is, of course, David Price, the former Tampa Bay Ray, and one of my all-time favorite closers, the one that does this before he pitches, and Craig Kimbrell. So Their starting five and pitching is good. Their setup guy is perfect with David Price, because he was the starting. He was in the top five starting pitching, but he was struggling in the regular season. So the Boston Red Sox moved him down to the bullpen, and he has been lights out in those late innings going into the ninth inning. So David Price has been the best thing going when it comes to bullpen working. Greg Kimbrell, another great closer we've had before. Great closer we're having this season. I mean, closers like we had, like Jonathan Papelbon, Udahara, and now Greg Kimbrell is one of those top three closers for the Red Sox. So coming from me in this series, again, I do see most of these American and National League Divisional Series to be 4 games or 5. So coming from me in this matchup, man, game 1's really going to tell us who's going to win this series, with Sale and Verlander, really, coming from me. So I'm going to take, this one's tough. I'm going to take the Boston Red Sox to defeat the Houston Astros. I think Boston is going to surprise some people. Again, you don't go back-to-back American League East champions for nothing. And you got some great playoff players that like Pedroia and that know how to win when it comes to playoff baseball. So coming from me in this American League divisional matchup to see who will be facing the Cleveland Indians in the ALCS, I am taking the Boston Red Sox to defeat the Houston Astros. And now the National League Divisional Series. I'm going to start off with the reigning World Series champions, Chicago Cubs, heading to Washington to face the Washington Nationals. Now, starting off with the Cubs, they are coming in as the reigning World Series champions after a 103-59 season last year, winning the World Series for the first time in over 100 years in 7 games over the Cleveland Indians. Now, coming into this season, Chicago Cubs struggled in the first half. Again, they were not in the lead in the National League Central. The Milwaukee Brewers were. But after the All-Star break, the Cubs absolutely turned it around, came back in that division, and won the National League Central for the second time in consecutive years. So, and it's saying a lot because this Cubs team is really good now. Starting with their starting lineup, you got Alex Avila, Anthony Rizzo, Ben Zobrist, the MVP in the World Series for the Cubs, Chris Bryant, Javier Baez, Kyle Schwarber, Albert Almora Jr., and Jason Hayward. So there's definitely some talent here, and they all have playoff experience from last season. So they're coming into their second playoff appearance with some experience involved. You got Ben Zobrist, who was the hero in the Game 7 for the Cubs. You have Chris Bryant, Kyle Schwarber, Anthony Rizzo, Alex Avila. This starting lineup for the Cubs is pretty damn solid. Then you look at their pitching, and they got some talented playoff veterans here. You got John Lester. If anybody Red Sox fans know, he was the one that got the Red Sox to the World Series. John Lackey with the Angels, Jose Quintanilla, and Kyle Hendricks. So their starting pitching is ridiculous, especially with John Lester and John Lackey. And then with their closer, Wade Davis, getting it done. This Cubs team is definitely a contender to get back to the World Series and go back to back, which we haven't seen a team go back to back in a long time in Major League Baseball. Then on the other side, you have the Washington Nationals, who are coming off a 95-67 season last year. Of course, they were the number one team in the National League last year till they lost to the Los Angeles Dodgers in the National League Divisional Series in 4 games. So they're coming into this season looking to exercise that demon of trying to get past the Divisional Series in baseball. So when you got great players and with their starting lineups, you got Matt Winers, Ryan Zimmerman, Daniel Murphy, Anthony Rendon, Trea Turner, Andy Lynn, Michael Taylor, and Jason Worth, and of course Bryce Harper. This team is very stacked with Dusty Baker coaching, managing. He knows what he's doing. I mean, if you watch him at San Francisco, you know what he knows what he's doing. But the one concern I have with the Washington Nationals is they live and die by Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper does not play. The team does not win as much. He is like a lot of very famous Washington players. Like if John Wall or Brandon Beal doesn't play for the Wizards don't win. If Alexander Ovechkin or Braden Holtby doesn't play for the Capitals, they don't win. Same thing with Kirk Cousins. If he doesn't play for the Redskins, they don't usually win. But Washington lives and dies by their famous stars, and Bryce Harper is Washington Nationals' top guys. So if he does not play in any of these games, it definitely is going to hurt the Washington Nationals in winning this series. Now, with their starting pitching, you got Matt Scherzer, Steven Strasburg, Gio Gonzalez, Tanner Roark, and Edwin Jackson, and their closer, of course, Sean Doolittle, is not too bad. But again, with this Nationals team, it all hinders on Bryce Harper playing, because when it comes to Washington, they're just trying to exercise that demon of every Washington team never gets past the divisional round or the conference semis or the Eastern Conference semifinals. They never get past that or the first round. So they're looking to reverse the curse for sure. So coming from me in this National League Divisional Series, man, again, Washington hinders on Bryce, and the Cubs are looking to repeat as World Series champions. So coming from me, I'm going to take the Chicago Cubs to win. I think this Cubs team is getting better at the right time, at the right moment, and they're looking to defend their World Series championship. So coming from me in this National League Divisional Series, I see this game going at least 5 games. I am taking the Chicago Cubs to defeat the Washington Nationals. And now the next matchup. It is a National League West battle between the Arizona Diamondbacks heading to Chavez to Ravine to face the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, the Arizona Diamondbacks are coming off a win on Wednesday over the Colorado Rockies in the wild card game. Zach Greinke starting. I don't think there was no doubt they were going to win that game at home at Chase Field. So they're coming into this National League Divisional Series with some momentum. Then on the other side, you have the Los Angeles Dodgers, who, of course, have their starting three pitchers for this series already. Of course, Game 1, we will see Clayton Kershaw. Game 2, we will see Rich Hill. And Game 3, we will see Yu Darvish. So the Dodgers are already getting ready for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, starting off now with the Dodgers last season, they got to the playoffs. They, of course, lost to the Chicago Cubs in the NLCS, where, of course, the Cubs went on to win the World Series. But coming into this season, everybody in the world we're talking about the Dodgers. First half of the season, oh yes, they are the World Series champions already. They're going to make it to the World Series. They're going to finally win their first championship in nearly 20 years. So then we go into the All-Star break, and then they started losing and losing and losing and losing and losing and losing and losing. They lost 10 straight games when we got to the second half of the season. Again, they did finish up the National League West. They had a winning record finishing up the month of August and September. But that 10-game losing streak definitely changed the odds of them making it to the World Series and winning it. Now, we also had one of my commenters saying that the Dodgers were going to win it in 6 games over the Houston Astros. So a Dodgers fan is already believing they can win the World Series this year. Again, I like the confidence. That's what I like about the comment section when it comes to baseball. Some very confident and bold predictions. Now, we're starting with their starting lineup. You got Yasmani Grandal, Cody Bellinger, Logan Forsythe, Corey Seager, Justin Turner, Doc Peterson, Yasiel Puig, and Chris Taylor. Now, big-time players to look out for here. Cody Bellinger, their rookie, who was in the All-Star, the Home Run Derby in the All-Star game weekend. Corey Seager's a good one. Justin Turner, Doc Peterson, and Yasiel Puig. Definitely players to look out for in this starting lineup. And then you start with their starting 5. You got Clayton Kershaw, their ace, Yu Darvish, Rich Hill, Hyung-Jin Ryu, and I can never say this guy's name. It's like Kenta Maeda. So, and then they also have a great closer in Kelly Jansen. So, top players to look out for in their pitching is obviously Clayton Kershaw. He's got to bounce back after his playoff woes last season. He's coming in 4-7 in the postseason. So that has to change for the Los Angeles Dodgers for sure. So coming from me in this National League Divisional Series to see who will face the reigning champs, the Chicago Cubs. Man, it's going to hinder. Definitely Game 1 will tell us who's going to win. I think this series can go 5 because Arizona has had the Dodgers' number in the regular season, and it could generate into this divisional series. So coming from me in this matchup, as much as I love to see the Arizona Cardinals, the Arizona Diamondbacks, defeat the Dodgers, I just think the Dodgers are a much stronger team. So coming from me in this matchup, I am taking the Los Angeles Dodgers to defeat the Arizona Diamondbacks and head on to the National League Championship Series for a rematch against the Chicago Cubs. And those are my Major League Baseball postseason divisional predictions. I hope you guys did enjoy these divisional predictions. Comment below, who do you have winning all 8 of these divisional matchups. Again, represent your team in the comments below. If any of your teams are in the playoffs, represent them in the comment section as well. Tell me why do you think they're going to win this series and how many games. I would love to see that. Let's have a conversation about it. Of course, I am always on to see your comment, thumbs up, and of course, reply right back to you because comments are absolutely always welcome on this channel. Now, I do want to thank you guys so very much for watching these divisional predictions. And of course, before you guys go, you can never forget to do this. That like button, comment, share with your friends. Of course, super kick that like button like only you guys can. And of course, you can never forget to do this as well. That subscribe button, become part of this bigger and dangerous Lions. And I will see you guys Monday for 6 big videos. Later days and peace.